o'clock. I'd like to call this meeting to order. I need a motion to approve our agenda.
So moved.
Got a motion? A second? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carried. Let's stand and say pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Public comment. There's a public comment.
Jacob?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, Tom Wagner.
Yes.
go ahead, Tom.
Yes, I've got a question. And a couple, 2 or 3 meetings back, you were talking about, the employee getting bruised knees. Has there been an accident or any type of report on injuries? And also on I know Supervisor Clark said the building, the existing engineer's building, structurally deficient. Has there been any reports? I guess I filled out or any discussion in previous meetings, or has there been anything in the minutes? I haven't seen it about discussion on that building being unsafe.
I'm not aware of anything. Judy, is there something on record? There's something wrong with that building?
No, and Tom, I think when he was talking about his bruised knees, it was just him hitting his knee on his desk. So I don't think there was anything, no accident filled. We had toured the engineer's office. I don't know, it's been several months ago, and then we looked at the annex and kind of toured it because we were trying to figure out, how to utilize the space of the annex.
Okay, and I understand all that. It's just, nobody wants to waste your time, but I guess if there hasn't been an accident report, I guess I would say it's a non-issue. One other thing, when we're talking about saving money, on the 21st of October, there was rock put on 160th Street, west of O Avenue. And then 2 weeks later, it had been bladed. And this has been discussed in earlier meetings about the application rate, the gradation, the poor material, the fines, saving money. But if you don't control that application rate, then you haven't saved anything. And so there again, we talked about when you put it on the roadway surface and then immediately or very shortly after it's placed, come in and blade it, you segregate it, you degradate it. And I think in a meeting 2 weeks ago, the engineer said the blades were out. They were working the windrows. Well, on the 5th of October, I noticed that a windrow was created on 160th Street. And it was 2 weeks after I had observed in that week, material had been placed on that section of roadway, 160th Street. And, during harvest, very, very unsafe. Matter of fact, even the application of new material being loose, and when you try to brake with either grain cart or 400 bushel wagon behind the tractor, very, very unsafe. As far as the windrow, you try to get over, it's hard on equipment. If you meet somebody, there you are bouncing equipment on that windrow. And as far as condition of roads, I know one young lady did mention the condition of roads in southern Page County, and I know Supervisor Clark in that meeting said it didn't happen overnight and it wasn't going to get corrected overnight. And so when you make a statement like that, I guess I ask the question, Supervisor Clark, can you let me know what has been done to improve the conditions of the secondary roads, granular surface secondary roads?
Not going to answer, Tom.
Tom, on the grading of that, JD's here. What is the deal with grading it after you apply rock? What's your reason for that?
Got to spread it.
No, the truck spreads it. What's the reason for going out and grading the road after a week or two after? You have a good reason for that? So what happened? I've talked to JD a little bit on the phone. I've had several people call me about the rock being hauled so dry, hauling rock right now, and it is extremely hard to pull on loose gravel, any kind of wagon or truck or stop. That's true what he's saying. So what's the reason we're hauling rock right now? That's a question I asked you on the phone this week. The last few weeks, I've had several people call me and there's major trucks on certain spots hauling a lot of rock, so. But that stopped now, or?
Correct.
And the question on that, also, had another concern, this is east of Clarinda, called me with the rock being extremely, I called you on it, extremely dusty, not a ton of fines on it. Have you figured out what the deal is there? Are they selling us something different, or?
We were all in class D to intersections where we need a little more flags so it doesn't washboard.
Trying to get, so it doesn't, so this was a couple weeks ago, so that, when you were hauling rock around, but that was trying to solve that. But I've had several calls on this same thing, not just what Tom's saying, today I had somebody call on, so we're not hauling rock right now, right? Unless it's a
On rock shoulder.
shoulder rock. Okay,
Correct, and then that brings up another thing too on M63. And I'll send JD an email, the supervisors. I'll revert back to Supervisor Morris stating it wasn't going to cost taxpayers anything. But bottom line, when the county originally, the secondary road department, 2 years before the overlay, they did one tremendous job of compaction. That rock would not move, even though they didn't adjust the wings. It did throw a little bit off of it, but that slope, the engineer apparently sent out motor grader operators and intentionally bladed that shoulder rock off into the ditch, onto the forest slope. I mean, the compaction was wonderful. The only thing is the slope and the width was not, but when the contractor put the shoulder surface on after the asphalt surface, he didn't use a rubber roller, which you need to use on rock shoulders. He used a steel face roller, and also part of that weight was carried by the asphalt. So we didn't get compaction. It went down to where it is lower than the surface. And guess what? That was done in 2022. And here you are in 2024, adding more rock to a project that should have had adequate rock placed, adequate proper compaction. And so now you're putting it out there and it's maybe wheel rolled, it's loose, guarantee you. So here we come, here comes winter, here comes the plows on the side of the truck. And I have furnished photos and I get a really, not even a flimsy, I get a answer that has no merit. I'll put it that way. So anyway, I will send an email. Thank you for your time.
okay.
We're not shouldering on M63.
Tom, you got JD, so they're not shouldering on M63, not shoulder rocking that, but
They did ask him, did they? Have they in the last 30, 45 days?
he says no, not that he's aware of on M63. There's been other places that are shoulder. J20 has been done. So, but another question I had on that, we could talk about an hour later, but I guess we're on this topic. Another call, they're plowing cable on the road, one of the things we approved probably a few weeks ago. This would be north of me, so north of College Springs, a couple miles. They were plowing it in, and I think they hauled rock afterwards. Well, when they did this a few years ago and plowed on the road, whoever that outfit was, I'm not sure who did this one. And then made a pretty soft track in the road, plowed in and then trying to put rock on. What is now they've signed something if they screw things up, or cause any kind of change, they're supposed to pay to fix it. restore it like it was, so they chunk a bunch of dirt in the road. Then we go out there and haul rock right now. Is there any kind of a bill or something, or make it right sent to them? Well, I wonder, that would kind of be the point of that, signing an agreement, then they, I mean, unless it's, if it's possible, it'd be nice if they plow it in the right of way. That's part of the permit, right? They sign that if they have to restore it like it was. Well, and I know that sometimes they have to plow things in the road, but if it's possible, you know, you rip that thing to the road, you bring a lot of dirt in the road. So we need to, I'd like that investigated to see if the road gets a lot of dirt brought into it, we need to have them at least cover the rock to make it like it was. So you wanna look into that and come back next week on that, who did that? Because that's part of our agreement, we give a permit to people if they. What road would that be? I'll have to let you know the exact, it's a mile west of me and a couple miles north, is the spot there, so I'll have to look it up. But, anyway, I'd like, because that's part of our permit, if somebody plows 2 years ago, they plowed on the road, we didn't have these
Yeah.
permits and they made a mess. And we just rocked it, we had just rocked it, and then the permit, then they were given permission to go plow on it, and then it buried all the rock, then we had to rock it again.
So who are you talking about?
It'd be either whoever installed the cable on the road, somebody that's IMO
maybe,
or
or-
one, I don't know.
I couldn't understand what you were saying.
It's whoever installed some cable.
Okay.
They just need to restore it like it was, or at the proper time when it gets wet, put it back and pack it in there or whatever, but I'd like that looked into. Okay, anything else on all that? Is there any public comment? No, okay, Cindy has one.
I think I've mentioned in the past that I listen to some other county meetings. And a lot of the counties that I'm listening to have had their auditors coming to the meetings and talking about the ARPA funds and trying to get the dollar amounts down to the penny because we're coming up to the deadline of obligation at the end of the year. And I am just wondering if our county is gonna do something like that, because, I know it is taxpayer money, it's federal taxpayer money. But if we could use it in our county, I hate to see that we would have to turn any of it back because it's not obligated. I went and did a little research and I might be wrong with what I found. But what I have says the obligation deadline is December 31st, 2024. The final rule defines an obligation as an order placed for property and services and entering into contracts, subawards, and similar transactions that require payment. Funds must be committed for an eligible use through a contract, a purchase order, a subaward, or alternative binding document. That does not mean a handshake or, yeah, we'll do it. You've got to have something in writing. Also, I guess the only thing is that the funding obligation deadline is December 31st, and that's coming up quick because if there's projects that have to have some kind of purchase order or agreement with somebody, those have to be signed before December 31st. Otherwise, those are considered not obligated, and there should be documentation of what's documented or what's obligated and what isn't. The expenditure can happen clear out to 2026. I understand that, but if there are projects that need to have investigations done in order to, or bidding sent out, then I would think those need to happen because we're coming up quickly to December.
Yes. Well, you do that, so I'd like to, that's something to talk about tonight, and have that out. So, I'd like to put on an agenda for next week, we have this one document, I think Cindy put together here a while back that shows, I mean, there's several $100,000 here that are not obligated. So we need to ask JD to put some things together, some projects, that are hard to fund, that we can look at, and some other things, so the deadlines and our time to get bids, we need to get on this on the next few weeks here. put on the agenda next week, try to bring those in next week, JD, what you have, and we'll start making a spreadsheet or something of all the different options. And, we do need to get on this and get this done and spend it as wisely as we can. Okay, any other public comments? If not, we'll go to the engineer update.
Good evening, JD, Page County Engineer. The update was sent out Tuesday afternoon, evening. Talks about blades being out in the districts. Today, we had one blade out only. The rest of the operators were, some were mowing, some were cutting overhangs, trees, and one was doing a service. Same with rock haul to the roads. It's been reduced. We were hauling to a stockpile, which was feeding the shoulder operation on J20. And 3 more going to on the gravels, but on the pavements today. The northwest area is being mowed in the gravels. Finishing up shouldering on J20. X Avenue field entrance bridge replacement is complete. Little bit of riprap on the slopes there. And we're taking our blade operators and doing other tasks. We have a magnet that we pull or pick up ferrous debris from the roadways. Working on a culvert pipe inventory, bad, when which pipes are bad. Up to this end, we're stockpiling some rock. In the shop, we're doing winter service on the tandems continues. We had a cat field tech guy investigating our mower tractor. Transmission sensor issue, I think. And our, one of our truck tractors back from the alignment shop. The motor grader service was done on number 1, the machine out of Northborough. I'm moving to construction. We had a pre-con for the Essex North Bridge on Wednesday, yesterday. Dirt haul would begin on that project Monday, the 14th. With the roadway still open for 2 weeks until we plan to close the road and demolish the bridge on the 28th of October. And I'll be putting out a news release to that end. If you have grain to haul over that bridge, do it soon. Although the detour is a short 2 miles worth of gravel. It is gravel. It's right there at the bridge. It's for its detour, it's fairly simple. West on 150th, north on C. Continue with project development on the J64 guardrail project. We have 2 items on the agenda for that project. And we'll be working on a survey for the Yorktown Bridge and Road project. Questions for me?
This field entrance, the bridge thing replacement, whose field does that go into?
It's a Brook Turner ground.
Okay, I just was curious where that was.
We've done 3 of those recently. That's the 3rd one. We also have another railroad tank car to put in immediately southwest of Clarinda, just west of the jail site. We're able to use some of the excess dirt came off that site development with the jail for our project.
Okay.
You can't get dirt any closer.
No, I know.
So,
Okay.
which is next, the title sheet or the?
Guardrail
Funny.
projects first.
The title sheet or the,
Title sheet.
Title
for-
sheet of the guardrail project.
Yeah,
I have a title sheet for the guardrail project here. It needs to be approved in 3 signatures.
I can see that, a motion on that.
Make a motion that we approve the title for the guardrail project on J64.
I'll second that.
Okay, got a motion and a second to approve signing this title sheet. We'll vote on that?
Mayor,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes.
Clark.
Okay, let's try that. Find that. Okay, yeah. Yes, I see that. The next item on the agenda is the funding agreement for project HSIP swap C 073-151 FJ 73.
This, we have a funding project or a funding agreement with all our federal aid jobs or all our projects. This is 100% money. There's no match involved or the match is provided by the swap. So it's a safety project down on J64. Upgrade the corner guardrail.
I have a document here, so do we have a motion
I know that we approve that project.
and agreement with the
I'll
project?
second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second on that, going forward with this project. Yeah.
Mayor,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes,
Clark.
okay, I'll sign this.
Maybe, what did you say about the Northborough, about the shop? Northborough?
The Northborough shop is the motor grader that was doing the service.
Day of October. 24. Okay, there's that. And then. Okay. I think if we're done with JD's update, everybody's done, we'll go to Jeff there. We'll do our jail update. Go ahead, Jeff.
Good evening. How's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
Good.
Looks like things are going pretty steadily down there in the county. I was down at the correctional facility this morning, and then on Highway 2, the trees are starting to turn, getting that to be that time of year. So here we go. As far as ongoing updates, the bid documents are trending exactly where we thought they would be. We will be releasing to the public on October 18th. We will be also coming in on our bid form with multiple bid alternates to provide potential cost savings as far as deductive alternates on some of the exterior, so we can make sure we bring the project within budget. So that's all going really well. Starting next week, you guys will be receiving some meeting invites. They're just going to be placeholders. That way, you know, on your calendars when our pre-bid meeting will be, bids due, that type of information, last addendums, just for your reference. So you always have able to track those. On the notice to bidders, that'll be going out next week also, as far as a public publication, so everybody understands that. Along with our pre-bid meeting in person, we also will be having a Teams link. That way, anybody that wants to attend virtually can do that also, which also seems to lend itself better towards bidders. We did have a project bid yesterday afternoon over in Council Bluffs. We did have good bid results on that. That project did come in under budget, so that is boding very well. So everything, I think, like we talked about last week, it's definitely going to be an advantage for us to bring this in where we need to bring it in. Also next week, you're going to start seeing some of the quotes, temporary roads being brought up to where the building is going to be going in, just a rock base. That way, with the fall coming in, if we do get some rain, we're not tracking any mud, just part of the sub base that'll be going in. So you'll see some of that going. And then crane construction, again, ongoing deliveries. Structures are still slating to be delivered within the next 2 weeks is what we're seeing right now. One thing that we did reach out to everybody As far as past bidders is making sure that they haven't really seen any quotes bad impacts when it comes to the hurricanes that hit down in the southeast and down in Florida. We did have one vendor reach back on the correctional facility. One of the architectural casework vendors, their building was shut down in Georgia, I do believe, Wilson Art, but they plan on bringing that back online. So we'll just keep our pulse on that. I see we have another big hurricane potentially coming in next week. So as far as it impacting the supply chain, as of right now, we haven't seen any hits. So it's something that we're definitely monitoring, especially with our DAS work for the state of Iowa all throughout the state. So keeping our thumb and pulse on that. Any questions for me?
Any questions?
No,
I think so. Thank you for coming and bringing that update.
appreciate all the updates.
Keep it
We'll
going.
definitely keep that coming. And again, you'll see Procore will be firing back up pretty hot and heavy. Everybody is not having any issues accessing that information, I'm assuming, correct? Yep.
No. It's working
One
good.
other thing, next week you will see what we call a P6 schedule with the updated dates as far as construction cycles, precast, which are preliminary. They'll be part of our contract documents. So kind of give you a guideline of what we'll be experiencing this fall and then next year. All right. All righty, folks. Have a great evening. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jeff.
I know.
All right, that done. Number 7 on the agenda is tax abatement for 209th Central Street in Essex. Picture for the city of Essex. It's resolution 52. Do I have a motion on that abatement?
I'll move that we approve the request from Essex to abate the taxes at 209 Central Street, resolution 52-2024.
I've got a motion.
Second.
I have a second. Understand what it is, we'll vote on it.
Mayor,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
That done, number 8 there, we have work on a resolution against the use of eminent domain in Page County for the CO2 pipeline. We have some examples.
Yeah, so have some examples, and it looks like a lot of the counties, Judy was saying, is kind of copied and did the same resolution just to keep consistency among the counties, so I've emailed that to you guys, and then I'll email versions to the auditor and see if we can get one drafted up, and we can talk about it next week, if that's all right with you guys.
Yep.
I did reach out to ISAC today. I wanted to make sure that we weren't going to be sued by doing this. And it looks like about 17 other counties have passed the resolution. As long as we don't pass an ordinance, we're okay. Because if you do an ordinance, you will get sued. So the resolution is okay. So thank you, Todd, for doing that. So yeah, if we can have the auditor next week, do a number on it.
Yep, it's
We can put it
important.
on there for next week.
Yeah, work on that next week. It's a serious issue, trying to use eminent domain for private gain.
And ISAC does have, one of the legislative priorities for next year to appear before the legislature. One of their things is that, they're reaching out to the legislature to amend Iowa Code Chapter 479B to prohibit the use of eminent domain by a carbon sequestration or other hazardous material pipeline company that is not a public utility and that is not serving a public use and or purpose. So they're listening to the counties to do this also on our behalf.
Yes, so that, next week we'll look at that draft and look into that, because there's, like, eminent domains would be only used in certain situations. Okay, anything else on that? We'll get that next week. Let's see, number 9 there, the board communications, any scheduling or anything?
I did attend a Zoom presentation today, and it was an ISAC webinar, talking about the legislative priorities for the 2025 year from what we've approved and will be approving, for ISAC to go to the legislature for us. It's all very interesting, and we'll be able to vote on that before the end of the year, so watch for that coming.
Okay. Anything else to think about for next week? We're gonna work on that
Got a
resolution.
Zion meeting on Tuesday,
The,
I believe.
like we said, try to put that ARPA, start working on that funding for next week,
Yep.
figuring out what we're gonna do. Okay, if there's nothing else. we have claims.
I have a request.
Okay, what's that?
Halloween falls on the 31st. My street gets shut down at 5 o'clock on the 31st. Because Willow Street, we have, around probably 300 to 400 trick or treaters that come in our street. Could we, maybe have our meeting earlier that evening? Or do something different?
You know, flop it with the next week or?
Yeah, do you wanna just wait till, not do
No,
one
I'm
that week?
saying, do you wanna do,
Like not do one that week?
or just flip flop them?
Well,
Do 9 on the 31st and 6 on the 7th.
The one thing I will, I don't know for sure. I may be in North Carolina that week,
The 31st?
Yeah.
Okay,
and so,
maybe just not have a
I'd
meeting
be-
that week?
yeah, I mean, I'd be able to Zoom, and I was planning on Zooming at the hotel, but, other than that,
Maybe,
but
let's just, I guess we can lean that way and then just see what's going on that week, see if there's something we need to
Okay.
meet for.
if there's,
Okay,
is that right?
Yeah.
Just see what's on the
Okay.
agenda.
Yeah, and I don't know for sure yet if I'm going,
Okay.
they asked me and,
okay. So maybe not meet, but wait until,
See what's on the agenda.
okay,
If there's anything pressing.
okay.
Okay, then I have the claims are the next thing on the agenda. They've all been passed out here.
I make a motion that we approve the claims.
I'll second that.
Okay, you got a motion and a second on the claims. There's no discussion. Is there discussion? We'll vote.
Mayor,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes.
Clark.
Yes.
Okay, claims done. All right, let's take minutes here. Good. Okay. Oh, I still have one.
Make a motion that we approve the amended minutes for the October 3rd meeting to meet the Iowa Public Information Board guidelines as presented to the clerk in this meeting, and these minutes to be published into Page County Board of Supervisor minute book.
I'll second that motion. Yeah, go ahead.
Mayor,
Yes.
Holmes,
Yes.
Clark.
No.
Okay, motion carried. All right, nothing else. Next up on the agenda is to adjourn.
I so moved.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we're adjourned.